have something to admit to you. I am very, 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 very good at buying books. Not so good at reading them. And so that is part of the reason I'm really, 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 really excited to announce and launch a brand new book, How to Make Virtual Engagement Easy, Practical Guide for Remote Leaders and Educators, which, in case you were wondering, COVID made us all remote leaders and educators, whether or not you've gone back in person to some degree or not, right? For the rest of our lives, just in case you were wondering, there will be an element of meeting and gathering remotely, whether it's the mainstream that you are gathering and meeting and teaching, or it's just the every once in a while thing that happens. We're going to continue to meet each other in a pixelated way. And so even though the real right time to publish this book would have been in March of 2020, I didn't know what I know now. I hadn't learned and fumbled and failed enough to figure out how to actually make virtual engagement easy. And so back to me being really terrible at reading books, but good at buying them. This book is meant not to be read. Every chapter is a question that an actual leader or educator has asked me in some format. And the chapter is my response. And as you can imagine, if you've been following me for any amount of time, each chapter also has a QR code as well. And so if you don't feel like reading, you can scan that QR code and watch. It's pretty nifty, right? So the way it's meant to be used is flip to the table of contents, find the question or the topic that you want to know a little bit more about, read that or watch the video, and then close the book. Put it down. Don't feel guilty about having read the first 2 chapters of a book and letting the rest collect dust. It's meant to be a resource and a guide that gives you in the moment, just in time learning. So I'm pretty excited to launch it. If you haven't noticed, there's a little something different about this video in that there's no cuts whatsoever. A while ago, many folks that are on the We and Me learning letter that I send out every week said, ooh, love this like uncut format. Can we do more just like you press record and see what happens? So here we are, live in the moment, all mistakes and fumblings happening. And one of the things that's shown up as I'm recording here, I just looked down at my desk and saw this beautiful picture. And this is the first video that I've recorded and sent out since Will, my co-founder and partner in crime and co-author of the book, passed away. He died on November 12th, and I'm only able to say that to you right now without sobbing because of the amount of sobbing that I've been doing. I've been really sad. It's really hard to lose somebody that I realized as I was driving, I stayed with him and his family in his last week or so of life as he was in home hospice. And okay, maybe I will tear up a little bit. I realized driving in there that Will was the only other person other than my wife, Kate, that I've talked to every week, usually multiple times a week for the last 10 years. And so in addition to losing a co-creator and a business partner, also lost one of my best friends. And so didn't intend for the book launch video to take that turn, but he's present, right? And so what I've started to notice in myself lately is a lot of that grief and sadness transforming into reflection and wondering like, okay, we were actually supposed to launch the book 4 weeks ago, and then everything happened with Will, and so I wasn't going to launch a book while I was sitting by Will's deathbed. And then it put me in a reflective state of like, when do you launch a book after your co-founder? I don't know when the right time is, and so today is the day. I feel confident about that because he passed away in the middle of making a difference. He, to the very end, was intent on making one last meeting, recording one last video with what he was learning about death, or what the process of dying was actually teaching him about life, right? Whew, okay, I didn't mentor Matt Church who says don't do therapy from the stage. I guess I'm doing a little therapy with you right now. This is what we get when there's no cutscenes. Point is, I'm really excited to launch this book. I'm launching it in pair with a retreat as well. Part of the reflection since Will's passing that's sparked for me is I'm kind of an accelerator, right? I like to move things fast. Will had the gift of being a brake, like slow things down. He even talked slower, really pondered and reflected on things before acting on them. And so I think that's the most distinct characteristic from a retreat versus a workshop versus a whatever else is the retreat has a certain level of spaciousness. Right? When I talk about retreat, it's not like, hey, let's pack in as much content as we can, like a conference, and then leave feeling like I've got 8 pages of notes and I'm not sure what to do next. Right? A retreat is actually time to process and be in conversation with people and also be reflective and not be in conversation with people, but to have dedicated space to write, journal, reflect, map something out, make choices and decisions, etc. So anyway, to make a long story longer, that retreat's going to be happening in March. You can check details and a link for more info about that in the description. It's going to be focused on how to make virtual engagement easy. We're going to be walking through 5 ingredients of virtual engagement. It's going to be really applied, really interactive. And I'm quite excited because it's also intended to be a much smaller group. And so even though, as I've been collecting or registering interests over the last few months in a remote retreat, there's hundreds and hundreds of people on that list. But the retreat is going to end up being pretty darn small group. We're gonna get to know each other quite well. These will be connections that you'll actually leave with. And then the last thing that I wanna leave you with, I was scrolling through LinkedIn, and I don't know if this reaffirms my bad habit of buying books but not reading them, but I really liked this quote, and I wanna share with you. I don't know who Samantha Harmon is, to be honest. Oh, Romy liked this. I do know who Romy is. She's a wonderful person. You should follow her on LinkedIn. Everyone looks at the cost of a book, course, or coach. Nobody considers the cost of being in this exact same place a year from now. And so if you're on the fence about picking up a book, know that I am very comfortable having written this book and created it and recorded the videos within it. I am very, very comfortable and confident saying that if you picked up this book and only spent 10 to 20 minutes with it, that you would have at least a dozen hours of virtual gatherings and meetings in the next year that are better, that leave you less burnt out, more fueled, that are more intentional, that allow you to meet for purpose rather than just for time, that give you some fresh ideas to mix up where is that? I was sharing this with a client the other day, that mix up the dynamic of same old, and offers you a chance to create something new. Woo! That was a long one-take video. Thanks for hanging out with me and all of my processing, sharing, announcing mess. I'm really grateful that you've been coming on this journey with me, whether you're new or you've been around for many years. Thanks. I'm Chad Littlefield. Have an awesome day.